NFL season is here, and the Lockdown Defense Sports Network welcomes you to another NFL season. We are here to give you a front row seat to the pulse of the NFL. Join us every Tuesday night as we break down the latest news, dissect the hottest headlines, and fire off fearless predictions that might shape the future of the league. From the locker room drama to game-changing plays, we're just not watching football, we're living it. As the entire hit squad with young RG Robert Garcia, Coach Mike Dub, the real AG Alex Givens, and yours truly, Coach Defense, joins forces with the NFL Nation Live crew, Ref Guru, Violator, and the Saudi pirate himself, Captain Jack Rackham. So buckle up, because this isn't your average recap. This is the Lockdown Blitz, where the takes are bold, the insights are gritty, and the passion runs deep. Let's go. To all my heavy hitters and lockdown defenders, welcome to the Lockdown Blitz. I'm your host, Coach Defense. Join with me today, his squad, young RG Robert Garcia, Coach Mike Dub, NFL Nation Live crew, Violator, and the Salty Pirate himself, Captain Jack Rackham. Gentlemen, what's happening?
Good to be back.
Good to be back, man. Week seven is upon us. Week 6 is in the books, man. We got a lot to talk about today. The squad is all here. Before we get going, want to start off the show by saying the real AG Alex Givens is not here with us today. We want to give him a congratulations to him and his lovely wife. They gave birth to a beautiful baby 2 days ago. So they're in our prayers are all doing well. So we want to give a quick shout out to the real AG.
Mazel tov, Mazel tov.
Yeah,
I got to say it with enthusiasm. There you go.
Him and his wife gave birth to a beautiful baby, so we'll give them a quick shout out. Yes, indeed. All right, so he should be back with us next week, Lord willing. But yeah, so we want to give, he's here with us in spirit, so we're going to keep this thing rolling. Ref Guru's on travel as well. He's out and about. He was at Lambeau this weekend, so he's on travel. But everybody else is here. The gang's all here. Everybody's ready to roll, man. So we're going around the room real quick. Young RG, Robert Garcia, how you doing, good brother? What's going on with you?
Well, we're doing good, Coach. Finally got back in the win column this week. Everybody in the AFC West this week actually came in the win this week. So a good week for everybody here except for one of us. I'll leave it to him.
Appreciate it.
One sacrificial lamb that they ain't doing well, right? Yeah, it's always one. Always one. Speaking of that, Coach Mike back in the building. How you doing, good brother? What's going on with you?
Doing good. Glad to be back. Hard to believe it's week 7 already. The season is rolling along, man. And
the season is booming, man.
It's booming. So I know we got a lot to talk about, a lot of content, a lot to bounce around. So yeah, we here.
Indeed. Violator, good sir. How you doing out there? What's happening in Raiderland?
Doing good, man. Just trying to recover from that big weekend up in Vegas. And like I said, we finally got a dub. So, look, I'm chewing on an extra steak tonight, man.
Hey, and nothing wrong with that. Premium cut, center cut only. Indeed. Captain Jack Rackham, the Saudi pirate himself. How you doing, good sir?
I'm good, except that I didn't get that steak that I wanted after the victory because the place we went to, they were basically out of all of the good cuts of meat and the lobster tails and anything else. So I had a $35 cheeseburger. It just did not sit well. Maybe I'll try to spice it up next time and get some barbecue out in Kansas City this weekend.
Oh, okay. Indeed. Yes, indeed. I do get the Chiefs this week, so that's gonna be a good talking point for sure. Yes, indeed. So So we're going to get right into the show, man. Like I said, there's a lot of things going on with getting into week 7. A lot of things changing. As I said in the show earlier today, man, we get it, understand now, NFL. We understand what's going on. We don't know nothing. We don't know anything. Nothing we predicted in the preseason is coming to fruition right now. Everything's up for grabs. It is definitely a crapshoot. So, yeah. So we're going to start the show ceremoniously, when Reverend's not here. We're going to start the show off ceremoniously with our first segment called
Hit Squad Headlines.
Yes, indeed. Get into the headlines. So the NFL, week 6, I can't remember a week or a set of weeks leading up to the beginning of the season that's been this topsy-turvy. I have to say that for myself. Again, there's hardly any predictability to this. One team is hot next week. They look like the front runner. Next week they lose ball games. We sung Dallas' praise one week and they lose, to the Panthers. So I mean, that's the type of vibe the NFL is on. It is really wide open. And if you are a team that's on the cusp, like you have that chance, and kind of people were kind of thinking that you might be a year away, and you need to make a move or two to kind of get yourself in the conversation, I would do it because there's clearly no front runner here. There's clearly no front runner here. And talking about front runners and champions, let's talk about our first topic of the day. And we just have to just discuss it right off. We have to talk about the Eagles. The Eagles have lost 2 in a row. They dropped they gave away the game against the Eagles, and I don't know what happened this weekend. It's just that they just left the office at home. So we have to have a discussion as the Super Bowl champs, reigning Super Bowl champs. A lot of people had them, being in the conversation, going back and maybe repeating this year. So but them losing 2 games in a row, and those 2 ugly losses at that, offense seem to be stuck in neutral, can't run the ball, don't want to pass. We have to ask ourselves, are the Eagles in trouble here? Are they not who we thought they were? Shout out to Denny Green. Shameless plug there. But
it's a quarter.
So let's start with Captain Jack. So how do you feel about the Eagles today? Before you got to season, before the beginning of the season, between now and then, how do you feel about them today?
Well, I apologize for doing a little bit of and Denny, may he rest in peace. Off of your what do you call it? Little cue there.
All right.
Hey, there you go. Salute Alex Gibbons. Definitely. And I will like to say, no flag was called on that penalty that Alex and his missus had for the wonderful delivery of their child. So again, no flag, no penalty. So again, the Chiefs are still perfect for the week on that. So I'm just saying that as well. Getting back to Philly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are always little like ups and downs, peaks and valleys in a season. I just think that the Eagles are a quality team amongst the NFC. There's so many good teams available. I would actually like to say that it's almost like you're either in it or you're not when it comes to playoff possibilities. I would say almost half of the teams in each league, or each conference, I should say, they are capable of making the playoffs, while the other halves are the misses that are they're already doing their not fantasy drafts, or the draft. Thank you. They're doing their mock drafts already. Okay, and it's unfortunate that it seems like the Raiders are that team, but again, there's still a lot. I mean, There's 10 games left to play, if my count's correct. So a lot can happen in those 10 games. It just means that you have to be above water. You got to be floating, got to be where your head's up here when it comes down to the end. And hopefully in December, you're ascending on the high to get there. Are they in trouble? Not until you see a couple more egregious, and the operative word is egregious, losses for the Eagles, and then you might be able to start talking. So I say let's let it pass. We'll see what we see.
Okay, so you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. Yeah. In both ways. There's a chance both ways.
Gotcha. Coach Mike Dubb, who has the bird's eye view on this team because it is a division rival for him. What do you feel about the Eagles today?
No pun there either. Bird's eye view. See, I get that.
Yeah. Indeed.
I agree with Captain Jack 100%. I mean, We're talking, like he said, you just have to keep your head above water right now. We're not even thinking about one of the teams in the NFC just kind of blowing the other team. Like it's even across the board. Can you say the Lions are in a much better place? No, not really. They've dropped. They just got, dropped on Monday night to the Falcons. Can you say the Packers are in a better place? They lost a tough one to the Browns. So, they're right there in the mix. Like Captain Jack said, as long as you keep your head above water until playoff time and you got 10 games to kind of hit your stride and get going, I don't think there's any argument that this is still probably one of, if not the most talented rosters from top to bottom in the NFL. I don't think that, it's going to be a stretch to say that they can turn things around and get things together. I mean, it hasn't been a little ugly, sure, but I think probably more of the off field and more of the, the perception of what's going on in the locker room is probably worse than what it actually is in the locker room. So, it's just part of Philadelphia sports. They're going to find something to bark at, just like New York and some other markets. But as far as it being in trouble or anything like that, they're 4-2. They're, still one of the best records in the NFC. They're right there in the mix. They'll be fine.
Okay. All right. Young RG, Robert Garcia, how you feel about the Eagles? Do you have a contrarian take on this?
Not necessarily a contrarian take. I agree with the basis of they're definitely not, in trouble yet. We're still early enough in the season where they're going to be able to turn things around, and they have the ability to turn things around. I think their offensive coordinator is definitely a question and potentially somebody on the hot seat. I think if you lose this next week against the Vikings, that is almost inexcusable. It would be your third loss in a row. That might get him canned. But it's almost like, to Coach Mike's point, they have one of the most talented rosters in the league. It's almost, you'd think as an OC, it should be easy to coach this team. Give the ball to Saquon and, let Hurts feed off the RPO, the play action. And kind of just let him run as well, let him use his legs. And, we saw a lot of that last year, but the defense was also a lot better last year. So all in all, this is to say, I do think that they will get it together. And when to Captain Jack's point, if they can catch fire at the right point going into the playoffs, once you're in, anything could happen. You win a week and you build momentum. So that's all they need. They just need to stay, like Coach said, above water until they get to those playoffs.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna see what Violet has to say because I might have to be the one. But go ahead though. I'm gonna pass to Violet first. Tell me exactly how you feel about the Eagles today through 6 games.
Always got to be one.
Well, if I was an Eagles fan, there's no panic button to hit.
Right.
What we're seeing is a new OC, and these guys getting used to that. Plus, you got to remember they lost a few players on that defensive side, and that's where I see the difference in the Eagles is on the defensive side. You've got young guys that they're picking on in that secondary, and any team that you find a weakness, the other opponent is going to exploit that. So that's really what I'm seeing for the Eagles. Like you said, it's 10 games to go, and there's no Super Bowl hangover. That old cliche. It's not that. It's just these guys haven't really got into their stride. And if you look around the league, there's pretty much parity. It's a week-to-week league. And anybody that wants to put money on 17 games, or be my guest, because it's a week-to-week Jekyll and Hyde season. So it keeps us fans on our toes. Not so much if your team is on the underside, but it keeps us on their toes. And you see all these teams scrapping for whatever it is to gain traction as we get into the second quarter of this season.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I got to be the guy then, because I see some things.
There's always the one. Come on, get the contrarian view. Let's go.
I have to say, from my football mind, my football eyes, I see issues here. And I've seen issues from the gate, and I was just waiting for them to play out. Because I said in my preseason video that I think their problem is up front. Pass rush. Their pass rush is not the same as it was a year ago. They lost some guys to Violet's point and things of that nature. Is some differences on that defense. One, and then the most glaring thing is pass rush. And on top of that, their best pass rush, they lost. He was on IR for the next 4 to 5 weeks, maybe 6 or 7. So that in itself tells you that they know it, and I know it because they went out and got Zadarius Smith right after the first game, and then he subsequently retired. So it's a lot going on in Philly that people aren't really, harping on. That this Ken Raiders over head, and they're not in a position to, literally let, things kind of fall by the wayside and drop games they should win, because again, the Commanders are ascending, the Cowboys are, week to week, they're who they are. The Giants are playing better. That's just in their division. You got maybe possibly 3 to 4 good teams in the North. You got at least 1 or 2 good teams in the South, and hell, you got 3 good teams in the West. So I don't think there's any room for error here when you talk about, kind of trying to figure it out, trying to be there. I don't think you want to be a 7 seed in this gauntlet come playoff time. I just don't think you want to be that. And then on top of the fact that, again, I see issues in the secondary. They're attacking guys in the secondary more so than they were in the past year, because, again, marrying a good pass rush with a decent secondary, you have a really good defense with Vic Fangio. But if you don't have one or the other, and one is not supporting the other, that's a problem as well. On top of the fact that the offense, and I'm harking back to 2 years ago, when they were under a different OC, when Shane Steichen left, they got a different OC in the middle after going to the Super Bowl and subsequently losing. Their offense, they kind of look good in the window. They kind of look nice in the window, but once you bought the suit, it felt like polyester. They were kind of a shell or a fast-mouth version of themselves. So, and they kind of sort of towards the end, they kind of started out good at the beginning, but they kind of fizzled out at the end, and they got beat in the playoffs real bad. So I think that the offensive coordinator is the delineating factor here. This isn't a Kellen Moore or Shane Steichen led offense. This is whoever. I don't even know the guy's name. That's how bad it is. Yeah. That's how bad it is for my purview, that the offense is not the same. They can't run the ball. Landon Dickerson is banged up. Malata's not playing the Pro Bowl caliber that he's played in the past years. Lane Johnson is getting older. They're questioning their center. Again, what they don't have a nuanced passing game like they've had in previous years. They're trying to force the ball to AJ and Devontae because they're quote unhappy. I see a lot of red flags here from my perspective. So, and again, it might be a situation where it may work itself out, but it looked like a carbon copy of that year after they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs for me.
I think the only thing that you can take solace in if you're an Eagles fan is you've had back-to-back games of bad film, you could argue, but basically so has everybody else in the league. We were kind of talking about this, at the start of the show, every team really has had a bad or multiple bad losses, many what we consider contender teams, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Eagles, right. Ravens are, of course, off to that horrific start. And so I feel like, there's issues, but hey, so do all these other teams. And we're 4-2. I'd rather have these issues and be 4-2 than have these issues and be 1-5, 2-4,
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I said, it could be one of those things where it works itself out, but these red flags that I'm seeing, aren't, things that you can just absolutely positively change, overnight. They're not going away. Their pass rush is going to be an issue. And on top of the fact that I think there's a completely, totally different team when Jalen Carter's not on the field, which is ironic when he's a defensive tackle. They're doing a totally different defense. Totally different defense. When he's not in the middle of that defense, it's totally different. So, I mean, he's that much of a game-changing piece. I get it. But hey, if he's not on the field in any stretch, if he gets hurt or gets suspended or does something crazy, that gets himself, in trouble with the league, then they're in trouble, in my opinion. So, if you're one player away from being, a lesser version of yourself, then I think it's a glaring issue for me. That's just my personal opinion.
Could we say the same thing about the Chiefs though and Chris Jones?
To a degree.
Right?
Yeah,
because that's basically the same thing right there. We could say if we take away Chris Jones from that Chiefs defense, they are
totally different.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
Can we take Chris Jones away from that defense? No, I'm just asking for a friend. Okay.
Your personal preference.
You know what, Kevin? We don't agree often, but we agree there. I 100% agree with that.
He just up decided to retire. Y'all be okay with it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd even throw. You know what? I'd even get him a nice big cake, like lemon meringue or chocolate custard, whatever the hell he wanted.
Whatever his favorite is. Yeah.
Whatever he wanted. And by the way, thank you, Eagles, for our defensive tackle that you lost, Booker, because he's been playing well for the Raiders.
I
Yes,
like
sir.
that. I like
Yes,
that.
sir.
Okay. Good stuff. But yeah, we'll wait and see. But I'm concerned. If I'm the Eagles, I'm concerned, and you got to get this together. And again, I think somebody said, it might have been Alex when he said on the show last week, that they are really Sirianni is very coordinator dependent. When he doesn't have good coordinators, that's when things fall off the rails. And I'm questioning me personally. I'm questioning your OC at this moment.
Kevin Patullo. That's who it is, by the way. Kevin Patullo.
Kevin Patullo. Good call. So yeah, I'm questioning Kevin Patullo's moxie right now, and can he get it together? So that's just me. All right, so let's talk about we talked about the Eagles. So let's get over to their Super Bowl opponents a few months ago. Let's talk about the Chiefs. So and I guess from one spectrum to the other, the Chiefs are starting to figure things out, and they're on the opposite end of what the Eagles are doing right now. They're kind of trending up. So is the NFL, or should the NFL be concerned that the Chiefs might rise from the ashes here? They're going to get Rashid Rice back. They seem to be hitting they're starting to get some synergy with their receivers. The defense is going to be the defense. So should the league be on notice that this team could be back? And, they kind of wanted to write them off for their first 4 to 5 games and those losses they took. Should we be concerned about that? Let's go reverse order. Let's talk to Violator first. Will the Chiefs rise from the ashes in the back half of the season?
I would be, as a longtime fan of watching this game, I would say yes, because of coaching staff. Andy Reid and the defensive coordinator, they have a knack of, they know where their weaknesses are. Like you said, they're getting one of their best receivers back from suspension, and people have figured out Mahomes, so to speak. But until Kelsey retires, that combo of Mahomes and Kelsey is going to be a thorn in everybody's side. Everybody says, oh, put hands on him off the line. The guy just has a knack of playing, especially if you play zone. And that's what one of my biggest complaints with our team when we face them is that we go into that soft zone, and any decent quarterback will eat up a soft zone because it has pits and holes in different spots. So you got to man up with Kelsey, and I've only seen a couple of teams in the last 10 years that really manhandle him. And until teams just do like the old Belichick way of taking him out of the game and let these other guys beat you, the Chiefs are always going to be that contender, man. So, like I said, I give kudos to Andy Reid and his coaching staff for that.
Okay. Good stuff. Young RG, how do you feel about the Chiefs today versus week 1?
Yeah, I'm with Violator on this one, man. You can't ever take the Chiefs lightly. As long as they got Mahomes, as long as they got Reed, and to Violator's point, Kelsey and Jones as well. As long as they got those guys, man, they could start 0-4, and I still wouldn't sit here and be like, oh, this team is done. They're out of it. No, like they could very well get it together. And like we mentioned, with how the AFC has been so far this year, with the Bills looking very vulnerable, that defense looking gettable, the Ravens, again, don't even need to delve into that. Burrow with his injury. So, like, the Chiefs are still very much alive and still very much in contention for the 1 seed. Obviously, they're not in the division lead right now as it stands, but they are, as it stands right now, and they're getting Rashid back, the healthiest team in the league right now. And that is the most terrifying thing when you have a team of that championship caliber and they're not hurt. They have all of their personnel there. That's a pretty scary sight. When Reed has his fully healthy team, he doesn't lose many games that he's favored in. I'm pretty sure that the Chiefs are now favored in the rest of the games for the season. Yeah, I think Vegas agrees that they're very much going to rise from the ashes.
Okay. Coach Mike Dub, how do you feel about the Chiefs through 6 games?
Listen to the Eagles. I mean, listen, anything before week 8 can be an overreaction, to be honest. Good
point.
You know what I mean? So to say that they were in the ashes at all to begin with is, come on now. Like, I think they've earned enough of a reputation that, okay, they'll be fine. So yeah, I think that, like like RG said, they're one of the healthiest teams. Obviously, they spent a lot of their offseason building up their depth so that this wouldn't be an issue when they, lose those receivers. They were able to kind of make adjustments. When they lost some offensive linemen, they were able to kind of make adjustments. So, I think shout out to them and their offseason work and Andy Reid being able to reload. Slowly but surely, everybody's waiting for them to get older. But what you're not realizing is that they have a lot of young draft picks that are, still coming up and being pretty productive. So I think those guys will start to hit their stride. Obviously, they'll get their chemistry going. They'll hold on to expectations of what it means to be a Chief in this last, 7-8 years that they've been doing it. So, I think they'll be completely fine. Like I said, any predictions or any, big headlines before week 8 can easily be taken as an overreaction. I think this is one of them.
Okay. All right. Captain Jack, how do you feel about the Chiefs? I wonder if I can get a contrarian take out of you.
No, hell no. But I'm going to say this as well, is that Coach Mike Gubb actually kind of stole my line. It says they weren't what ashes? I mean, I think the ashes you were talking about is maybe they went outside and took a smoke break, and the ashes were, the ashes of the cigarettes and the cigars that they were, because they're like, oh, okay, wait a second. And then they throw it out and we're back. Okay.
Okay.
And
that's a great analogy.
By the way, just in time, you get Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
Right in time for the Raider game. I mean, it's always, yes, I'm going to say it. Remember how the Chiefs always, and maybe 90, and you can check the stats on this, 95% of the time, the Chiefs always had an effing bye before they played the Raiders.
Yep.
I mean, check the stats. I am not wrong on that. You go back all the years when right before they played the Raiders, they had the bye. And then they played the Raiders.
Yeah, I kind of like that long run where we play y'all first week and then they get y'all after a bye. Yeah, I like that. Yes, good.
And I am not bullshitting you. Look at the stats. It's there. So they didn't get the bye this year. They just had a bye receiver. And that's BYE, by the way, for all you guys that are LGBTQ fearless. Okay. He's not that bye receiver. They had a bye BYE receiver gotten back right in time for the Raider game. So they had one bye that they got just in time for the Raiders. And it just seems that they just get a great break. And did I already mention that they didn't have any penalties called against them on? Oh yeah, I think I mentioned it at least once. Okay. And and by the way, this is not me, and I'm sure it might not have been mentioned, but what is it? The UTEP, University of Texas El Paso, did the quantitative study. The quantitative study, and all the Chiefs fans are saying, well, that's BS, man. Why don't they have a quantitative study for everybody else? Because you guys were the only ones that everybody was screaming at getting all of the friggin' calls correctly. They didn't have to do a 32-team quantitative analysis. All they needed to do was one. Yes, I'm on my soapbox. I'm going to kick it aside quickly, but I got other things to rant about later on. So, but yeah, they're okay. The Chiefs are back still in the thick of things, so don't worry about it.
Okay, yeah, I will actually. I'm gonna go a little bit further down the rabbit hole, saying that what people should have done is to kick their back in while you could have, because when they were trying to figure things out, they was having protection issues and there was no Rice. They should be 0-6. That's what they should. If you were smart, you should have started them 0-6 if you had the power to, because if you give them any chance and they're right in the thick of it, they're 3-3 right now.
Yeah.
No, they're 3-3 right now. So yeah, that's not too bad for, missing your left tackle 1 week, no Rashee Rice for the first 6 games. A lot of these issues that they're having, receivers, Xavier Worthy being out. So you let them hang around and you let them figure it out. So now they're cooking. So yeah, I would definitely argue for for the Raiders this week and the Chargers. From my perspective, the game that we play them next is going to be a whole different ball game. It ain't gonna be like the first matchup. That is for sure. So you can buckle it up because it's going to be a different team. So yeah, I think that the league messed up yet again by letting them hang around, because again, when they're getting healthy and they're getting their mojo going, coming into week 7. So next 11 games is going to be a test to see how good they're going to be by the time the playoffs hit.
Remember, it's Chris Jones. You get the pie or the cake or both.
Right. Okay? If you decide to retire, Cap got you covered.
Just go take a powder, man. Take a powder.
That's funny. That is funny. Indeed. Okay. All right. So we all agree that the Chiefs are definitely a problem, especially for us, in the division, that we got to look out for them coming up, up in the ranks before we all things that are done, I guess you can say.
That's why it was so important for us to get that win in week 1.
I'm saying those first 3 wins in the division was crucial because it's going to be tight from here on out. That's for sure. That is for sure. All right, quick bonus topic. I almost left this off the docket, but I think we all can pretty much, glean for what we want to talk about here in regards to coaching fires. So we seen Brian Callahan get fired yesterday. You got canned thanks to the Raiders loss. Shouts out to y'all for getting him canned because it was such an ugly loss that they just decided they wanted to move on. So give me a quick hot take on how you feel about Callahan getting fired. Was it fair? Was it not? And do you think anybody else is next before we get to the end of the season? Let's start with Captain Jack.
First off, that means that the Raiders have gotten 2 coaches fired in quick succession, so that's great. Also, I think it's apropos that the son of the coach that called the Raiders the stupidest team in America, his son gets the brunt of the firing. And yes, it is unfortunate because if you take the heart out of the team in Tennessee, you took the heart out of that team with Derrick Henry. They haven't had a good quarterback in a bit. And then you do have a rookie quarterback. So you're finally saying, okay, we're starting over. We're gonna have Cam Ward come in and we're gonna build around him. And by the way, you're gone after 6 games. That's bullshit. So I kind of feel for Brian Callahan. I almost said Schottenheimer because that's the other schmuck. That's the son of a coach. But no, I feel for Brian Callahan.
By the way, may he rest in peace.
I'm sorry.
I'm talking about Marty. I'm talking about
Marty. Yeah. Marty. Yeah. RHIP or RIP or whatever. No Marty Ball. And Marty was actually a great guy. Yeah. Except when he was playing his people that he didn't like to play. So there you go. But yeah, he was awesome, a really good guy. But yeah, Brian Callahan, a really good coach, was not afforded the opportunity. Just like Mayo in New England was not afforded an opportunity. You got to give these guys more of an opportunity to settle down and settle in to a project. You don't just can them after a quick season or 2.
Okay. All right, Coach Mike Dub, I'm actually going to ask you a nuanced question based upon what Captain Jack said. Why do you think that is, that certain coaches get fired quickly, in a sense?
I think, I think a part of it has to do with expectations, and that was actually going to be one of my questions. Is I'm not sure what the Titans expected themselves to be this year. Like, they never struck me as a team that was going to, contend for the playoffs or anything like that. So whatever it is that they saw, they felt like, okay, there's no hope for it at all. Because like Captain Jack said, this is a project. The whole team is a project. Your quarterback is a project. A lot of other young guys you got are projects. So it's not like they, should have been expecting to get off to a 5-1 start or anything like that. And it just hasn't been that way. So whatever it is that's going on in the building, I think obviously sometimes it may have to do with how the players are reacting, the energy in the room. So I'm guessing that whoever made the decision is probably close to, the day-to-day and what's happening in the building. And they just saw that this is not the best environment for their rookie quarterback. So I think that's the thing that could make somebody pull the trigger this fast, is that, hey, this is not the environment that we want our rookie quarterback to be in. Obviously, you're trying to set the stage for him to be prepared, set the stage for him to succeed in the long run. And whatever it is they were seeing from Callahan, they didn't feel like it's something that they wanted to expose their rookie quarterback to any longer. So, I think that's the only thing that I can think of that can make a team like this pull the trigger when you weren't expected to really contend for anything this year anyway.
Okay. I like it. Okay. Anything else you got to add before we move on?
Nah, I mean, I don't know if you wanted us to talk about the follow-up of who could be next. I think we all probably have an idea who could be next, who could be any day now. The Dolphins are just, that situation down there is just bad. It's all around bad. I don't think, you heard every week it feels like Tua is saying something stupid and saying something that's just like, first of all, Yeah, you know what I mean? First of all, why do you have a mic in your face? You're not performing the best anyway. So, who are you to really say what's going on and all this stuff like that. But I say that to say it's a free for all down in Miami. And here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this and move on. That's not the city. There's certain cities that you can't just have like guys tune out. You know what I mean? Like New York is one,
Yeah.
Vegas is probably another. Miami is another, because once guys are not tuned in or they feel like they can't win, they're going to start to entertain themselves other ways. Yeah. So it's only a matter.
A little bit like that too now.
It is, yeah. DC too.
Yeah.
So once guys start feeling like, hey, we ain't contending for nothing anyway. Monday night and different nights they're going to be out a little later. Miami's not the city that guys can check out at. So I say all that to say, yeah, Mike McDaniel looks like he's lost control of that team. I think he's the next guy to go.
Hey, may I have a quick one, Coach?
Yeah.
I think that there should, and maybe RG can tell me on this one. I'm sure there should be a prop bet somewhere. Who gets fired first in the state of Florida? McDaniel with the Dolphins or the Gators head coach, whose name escapes me, because those seats are so hot.
Oh, yeah.
They're on a Viking pyre. Billy
Yeah.
Napier. Thank you.
There you go.
Napier or McDaniel. I think that should be a prop bet, and then you get money if you're right.
Yeah.
There probably is some kind of bet somewhere where you could take those odds.
Right. They bet on everything else. Why not that? Because that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay. I would argue that I thought the Miami thing would happen way before the Titans thing happened. I thought that at least you get a year with a rookie quarterback, and that's not the case. That's not the case. That's a good one.
What really hurt him was the fact that he had already went 3-14 last year. Now I get it; it was with Will Levis, so you take that with a grain of salt. But you just needed to see anything from the Titans this year. Just give me a sign of life. Squeeze my hand so I know you're breathing.
Right.
And there was just nothing there all year long. I mean, all season, Cam was the least talked about number 1 overall pick. Nobody expected anything from this Titans team to coach. And Cap Jack's point, I don't even think the Titans knew what to expect. They kind of were just like, well, we have the number 1 overall pick. Hopefully it goes well. We'll see what happens. And this is kind of what you get. And just to make matters worse, this is the year where the Colts and the Jags decided that, hey, we're actually going to be great now. So even if the Titans had any shot of maybe competing somewhat, it got immediately destroyed by those two teams being good. So it's rough. They brought in Mike McCoy, and for you Chargers fans who just had Vietnam flashbacks with that name, yes, it is that Mike McCoy.
Yeah, I just got PTSD. PTSD. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So, man, I get it. They wanted to bring in somebody who had head coaching experience prior. Understandable. I understand the move, but man, they're just not going to do anything this year.
Yeah, they're to Captain Jack's point at the top of the show. They're already doing their mock drafts.
Yeah,
they're already doing mock drafts in week 6. That's for sure.
And by the way, you can't only lay claim to Mike McCoy because he was bad in Denver too. So
he was bad everywhere.
He was.
Give credit or spread it around.
Right.
Okay? Spread it around.
Like Will Levis's mayo sandwich. Just spread it around. I got you. Okay. Violator, how you feel about Callahan's firing and who do you think might be next?
What I think we witnessed was this whole hot seat topic, all of that is just genre until the owners drop the mic or drop the pen. And what we have with the Titans is a package deal. I think they wanted to get rid of the dad, Bill, first. So because of the offensive line play, I'm just getting into the X and O because of the offensive line play.
Yeah.
I kind of watched him warming up Sunday, and it was like he wasn't all in as a offensive line coach. I've seen some with more energy. Like he must have didn't take his Geritol or something that morning. But here's the deal: they wanted to get rid of him. I feel personally, and so the son is basically the fall guy to get rid of both of them at the same time.
That's a good one. Collateral damage.
There you go. But so this, like you say, they're already into their draft for the next year, but they've got to find somebody to plug in there and kind of keep that fan base because they were like our fan base. We're at critical mass with what we're seeing on the field, and fans don't get a rebate for these quote unquote bullshit games that they put out there each week.
Yeah, you're right.
So
seasons, yeah.
There's a lot of expectations from the ownership, thinking that okay, we've righted the ship because we've got our QB, but they're finding in Tennessee that it takes longer than that to amass a respectable team. You know, a team with respectability. There's some growing pains, and Tennessee is one of them that's going through it right now.
I like it. That's a good one. That is a good one. He was collateral damage based upon the fact that they needed the father out of the building because maybe he had too much influence.
You know, the stupidest coach in America.
We got a similar situation with father and son, but we'll get into that at another time.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That's a great point. That is a great point. Right. So yeah, we'll see how they bring in. I mean, hell, James Franklin's available.
He's not a bad coach. He's not a bad coach.
I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I want just one head coaching job and give me a nice guaranteed contract, and then I can just be ass for a couple of years, and I just can sit home and collect my $50 million for the next 5. I'm good with it. You can talk about me all the hell you want. I don't care if I'm breaking all that kind of dough, you know, over the course of 5 years. Me personally.
And Franklin actually coached at Vanderbilt, so he knows the state very well. So that would be actually a very good fit for Tennessee if they want to go with somebody that knows the environment.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny too because I read today that Franklin's contract states that or stipulates that he has to apply for other jobs. And if he gets a job that pays him more than I think $8 million a year, the Penn State only has to pay the difference of his contract. He's not getting paid from his current. So he can't go home. He has to interview for somebody.
I don't think he wants to stay home. I think he does want to coach.
I agree. I don't think he wants to sit home and collect the check, but I mean, you know, I would, but that's just me.
That's fair.
Hey, sign me up. I'm available.
I'm saying. But yeah, we'll see how things go. But I think we all in agreement that so let me get a real quick reaction. How long do you think McDaniel has? Like, do we have this week?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
I don't know what their schedule is.
Yeah, let me look at their schedule really quick. I'll tell you the game they get fired.
Okay.
That he gets fired.
What you got, Doug?
Schedule. Give me the schedule.
I need the schedule. When's their bye week?
They got Browns this week. They got Falcons the week after, and Ravens after that.
If they don't beat the Browns, it'll be after that game.
I agree with that. You lose the Cleveland.
Lose to the Falcons, he's gone. Then I don't hear the third game because it's immaterial
Ravens.
after that. Right? Yeah. Okay. If they just squeak by those two people and they lose to the Ravens, it'll be game 3. But I think it's going to be Browns. You're gone. Then if he latches on, like I said, he's going to be living. He's game to game at this point.
Yeah, I was just about to say. I think at this point, McDaniels is game to game. I think after that press conference that Tua has, you have to be game to game. If you didn't already fire him at this point, you're just waiting for the next ball to drop. And I mean, these are three teams that we say are quote unquote winnable, but with the way that the Dolphins have been playing, nothing is winnable for them right now. So
no guarantees. There's definitely no guarantees.
And this is the 1 year we don't have them on our schedule. Damn it!
We did.
Yeah,
we'll take it. We'll take it. Well, yeah,
I think barely squeaked by that one. So
yeah, I know. You know, much like Cap after a good Taco Bell meal, but you know, you get a squeaker every now and then. But it is what it is.
Now you're thinking my stuff, Coach. Come on, man.
I thought you liked that.
Actually, here, hats off. There you go.
I thought you liked that. I thought I'll give you a shameless plug to your callback, Joe. But it's all good. But yeah, we'll see what Mike McDaniel has to do. But I think that he's definitely next, and you know, we'll see what happens after that. But hopefully everybody else is safe. But we'll see. Depends on how bad it gets for certain teams. All right, so let's talk about let's talk about some quarterbacks here. Let's move on to our next topic. RG and I were having a spirited conversation about quarterbacks over the weekend, and it brought up a good, interesting topic that I thought I'd do a little bit of research on. I feel like, you know, from my perspective, that quarterbacks coming into the league, you know, seem to do better when they have time to sit and watch. versus them playing right off. So the question for the panel is, should NFL teams consider the idea of benching rookie quarterbacks right out and let them sit and learn before they jump them right out there and make them play in a needy situation? So should you automatically come into the idea that you should have a veteran quarterback in-house and bringing a rookie in to be the Padawan learner, for the Star Wars reference? But I'm looking at a lot of quarterbacks. I want to say I have like about 10 to 12 quarterbacks that sat and they're in elite status versus quarterbacks that played early, they're struggling. So, I want to get the panel's reaction in regards to how you feel about this topic. And do you think this is a good idea to go back to that model? Because it used to be back in the day where rookie quarterbacks didn't play. You had to earn your stripes. You had to sit, learn, and wait. And then once the veteran was, I guess you can say over his skis and you were, deemed ready to play, they would throw you out there. There was no such thing as a first round draft pick playing week one, in back in the day. So should they go back to that model or should they stay with the model that they have? Let's start with Violator.
Glad you came to me first. Here we go. Now, the old school way is you wait and earn your turn to come in and play. But the caveat is there's so much hype and pressure nowadays with the league to get this new shining savior. I'll just say the savior for some of these franchises. And Tennessee would be one of those. These teams that's drafting first, second, and third, they're in desperation mode to get a key element to turn their franchises around. So these rookies that they draft do not have the luxury of sitting because the guy that's in front of them was already a train wreck. So they're trying to recover return on investment. So that's why these youngsters are thrown out there. And from college to pro, there's a difference in speed of the game. And I think all these rookies that's playing right now have found that out.
That's a great point. That is a great point because I think that is the biggest problem with Justin Fields. And it's always been that problem since he got in the league. Like, he has not adjusted to the NFL speed. Like, he would not let the ball go. He's just waiting for you to be clean, wide open versus, fitting into tight spaces and tight windows. And he just refuses. His brain won't let him throw the ball because he's stuck in the idea of what college look like versus what the pros does. So I think that's his biggest issue. I'm glad you brought that up because I definitely agree with that sentiment. That's been his Achilles heel since he's been in the league. And he was one that got thrown out there, right off. Like, they didn't wait. He was thrown to the fire immediately. So I think that's definitely a hindrance to him. Getting to the idea of, talking about Patrick Mahomes, who sat a year. Jordan Love sat 3 years. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, sat. They didn't sit, but they had to go through 3 different teams to get to the mature level where they could find a good situation to play well. So I think there's a lot of evidence to say that you are better served if you have the possibility or the leeway to let them sit. Then that's what you do. But I definitely agree with you there. It's definitely depending on what the situation is, but I'm seeing a lot more success rate, a hit rate when you let them sit, from my personal opinion. All right, young RG, I think you told me that you had a contrarian take on this, so please tell me exactly what your take is on this and how do you feel about this particular ideology?
Yeah, this has been a topic that has been around for a while now, and even back when I was doing the Wild Wild West show, this came up with Bo Nix, and when the Broncos drafted him, the big conversation was, should he sit for a while? Should he start immediately? He was quote unquote Peyton's guy, yada yada yada. Bottom line is, if you as a franchise have the luxury to draft a quarterback and allow him to sit, you absolutely can. Like Mahomes, like Rodgers, like even Brady, really, behind Bledsoe, who was a Pro Bowl quarterback. But like all these elite quarterbacks that came into the league and sat for a while, they came into great situations already. Chiefs and Alex Smith, they were perennial playoff team. Rodgers with the Packers and Brett Favre, Brett Favre won a Super Bowl MVP. They were a perennial team. Brady and the Patriots, although the Patriots weren't winning Super Bowls, they were having success and they were winning that division with Bledsoe. So he came into a team that had talent around him. Versus you look at some of these other quarterbacks, and when you're taken in the top 5, these are where the majority of these quarterbacks are. Again, look at where Mahomes was taken after the top 10. Rodgers in the later 20s. Brady, don't even got to mention it, 5th round pick. Like if you're able to come into the situations where teams maybe don't need a quarterback, but they're planning, they're like, hey, we know our guy's getting old. We got to start thinking ahead. He's not going to, he's maybe got 2 more elite years left in him. Then you can, and the rest of your team is built enough to where you're like, we don't need to address any of these other positions. We can afford to invest this 1st round pick into somebody that's not going to help us for another couple of years. That's great. But for most of these guys that are drafted top 5, they need to start right away, because most of these teams that are drafting top 5, they got nothing going for them. The fans are rioting, the locker rooms are imploding, the coaches are going through carousel, so they need something, even if the guy isn't great. Look at Jackson Dart this year. He was drafted in the later rounds, was sat for a minute, but was forced to come in just because of how awful Russ was playing, and from the fan, pressure to have him start. And look at him now. Like, the Giants aren't looking back, I don't think. And this very well might have saved Daboll's job with, how well, and I get, Dart isn't, performing like an all-pro or whatever, but he's performing better than anything they've had in recent memory. And that is enough to keep it going. And this is all to say, it's just situation dependent. But at the end of the day, these guys need to play so you can see what you have, because you can only see so much in practice. They're going to show you who they are in the game when the moment is, when the lights are brightest, when, you need a clutch drive. And you had brought up Baker. I would argue that Baker was already sort of a made man in Cleveland. Their ineptitude is just what convinced the league that he was on his way out. But, thankfully, Sean McVay and the Rams gave him a chance, kind of showed the league, hey, this is what he can do. And the Bucs were like, yeah, we'll take that. And I don't think they're regretting it one bit.
Not at all. Now playing like MVP candidate right now, for sure. Yeah. That is for sure. Coach Mike Dub, what you got on the topic? How do you feel about quarterbacks sitting early, or should they play right away?
I think they should play right away if they're able to.
Hell yeah, Mike.
I mean, listen, if you got a guy that's the best on your team, because I can make the argument, and say for every Sam Darnold, you have a Jaden Daniels and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? There are guys that are, ready. So much goes into that, though. Your college program, even down to your high school program. How much were you ready coming into the league? Is it just an athleticism thing? Is it a preparation thing? What vets do you have in the locker room to kind of keep you on on track? So there's so many other circumstances that play into it that I don't think that every quarterback would benefit from sitting, or every quarterback would benefit from playing. I think it's just the overall situation. But I think that, rookies can definitely be successful if they're played right away, if they're placed in the right position. Like RG was saying, the quarterbacks that benefited from sitting were the organizations that kind of knew what they were doing, and organizations that put them in better situations because they didn't wait until the last minute to draft their next guy at quarterback. So these are also organizations that have shown the ability to be sustainable. And then on the other hand, you have the Browns. On the other hand, you have, other teams that have traditionally not been stable. Jets. And, the Jets. These are teams that have their organizations, no matter who they got, they weren't stable. So, some of the quarterbacks that have been successful, maybe probably wouldn't have been successful in those places regardless, whether they sat or whether they played immediately. So I think it has to do more about the situation and the organization, all the things that are around them, than it does with the quarterbacks. I definitely think that rookie quarterbacks can play and be successful early on. Perfect world, sure, let them learn behind a vet. Let them learn behind somebody, whatever. But let's be real. The reason why these teams took them is because they need somebody to come in and compete right away. Yep. So, let the rookies do it.
Right. That's interesting, because I'm going to read off a list to you, and you tell me exactly, do you think these all were bad situations, or were they, quote unquote, just not ready? So Bryce Young in Carolina, Anthony Richardson in Indy, Justin Fields when Brett drafted by the Bears, Steelers, now Jets, Cam Ward with the Titans, Trevor Lawrence with Jags, Kyler Murray with the Cardinals, Spencer Rattler with the Saints, and now Caleb Williams with the Bears. They were all thrust into service early. And, I would argue that, I can't really say none of these quarterbacks are like lighting the world on fire at this point in time.
No.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it seems, and if you go through them again, with the exception of maybe Trevor Lawrence to a certain extent, most of these guys were RPO athletic quarterbacks that, kind of used their feet in college to open up, the passing game. Obviously, in the NFL, it's a little bit of a curve there when you talk about the athleticism. So you could go back to their college programs, and maybe that was I know quite a few of them. I think you named like what 2 or 3 Oklahoma guys, or something like that. So that could play a part in it. I think with them, thinking about those specific guys, with the exception, like I said, of Trevor Lawrence, came from a pretty good program. That might have been a learning curve with where they were when they got drafted. As far as reading defenses, as far as accuracy, all those types of things like that. So, like I said, it's a situation by situation based on the guys that you named. I think about where they were in college and what made them good in college. It wasn't necessarily picking apart defenses; it was their athleticism.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. All right, Captain Jack, what is your take on this? I got a feeling you're going to agree with Violator here.
Well, here's the point, and I will agree with whoever said it is team dependent or quarterback dependent or a mixture of both. I think coach and
they both said it.
That dude up in the right-hand corner that immediately raised his hand like, "Yo, I'm right." But because here's the thing. Yes, I'm old. Kenny Stabler learned behind Darryl LaMonica and George Blanda. He was the number 3 quarterback on the Raiders and learned, okay? Even Terry Bradshaw was sat behind Joe Gilliam and Terry Hanratty. Yes, I'm friggin' old, so I have this knowledge back here. But look what happens when they got the chance, okay? They were ready. Now, then you can flex out and say the Dolphins drafted Dan Marino right after they went to a Super Bowl, and they had Woodley as their quarterback, okay? And they drafted Marino, and he definitely did not sit behind David Woodley, and they were obviously high playoff contenders his rookie year. Then his second year, they went to a Super Bowl, which they lost, by the way, in case anybody was wondering. And by the way, RG, you're wrong. Mahomes was a top 10 draft pick at exactly 10.
Oh, he was exactly 10. You're
27 to 10. 27 to 10. So again, not that I like picking on you. Actually, I do. But
I was like, yeah, what?
When you said that, I'm like, ooh, I can get him on that too. But anyway, it's dependent on the quarterback. It's dependent on the situation. And here's the other thing. And I'm not sure if anybody was mentioning this or not already. Thanks to Jabustis Russell.
Oh, wow.
Thanks to Jabustis Russell,
look at
it's not necessarily where you have a quarterback that makes a boat ton, and I cleaned it up for the kids when I said boat ton of money, because there is steps in the draft, and thanks to Jabustis, they have a graduated, and I think the Bradfield or that other, you talk about Oklahoma quarterbacks. What's his name?
Sam
Bradford.
Bradford. Thank you. I knew it was Bradford. Anyway, he was the last of the guys who got paid before the graduated step. Okay, right. Because Jabustis messed it up for everybody. The point is that there is a bunch of people that have to pay money for this product because they're drafting these guys and they have the fan bases that are just clamoring. Like the Bears were clamoring for Caleb Williams. The Commanders, I almost said Redskins, partner, I'm very sorry, that they were clamoring for Jaden Daniels. It's a combination of certain things. In the operative world, you have a capability of Aaron Rodgers sitting behind Brett Favre. You have the capability of having a Mahomes sit behind Smith. And I think it wasn't quite the first year. I think he played the last 2 games.
Last game. Yeah, he did play the last game.
Meaningless game, yeah.
Yeah, but it was practically you sit, you learn, and you do. And you're much better, I would say, if you look at the percentages, you're much better if that happens to you. But these owners, they don't want to wait. I got a product. I got a boy I got to throw out there, or technically a quarterback man I got to throw out there because they're not boys anymore. I got something that I have to throw out there for the fans and the TV and everybody else because they're clamoring for it. And most of the time they're not afforded the opportunity. Jaden Daniels has done well, but he's one of the few. Everybody normally does well when they've been recycled through a couple different times, when they learn it, when they see it. And that's why Darnold is doing a lot better because he's learned as he went. Okay. Right. And Mayfield learned as he went. And I'm just saying, does that answer your question? Probably not. It just, I just say it does. You got to look. You got to see what the situation is.
Yeah, and I think there's very few outliers because, I think it was said in the chat that, talking about Jaden Daniels for one and then Justin Herbert, I think they were the only ones that's thrusting the duty really early. They could probably hang their hat on to being in the top 10 quarterback right now that were thrown in the service early and did well. But there's very few of opportunity. That's
Josh Allen.
Josh
Allen.
Josh Allen sat.
Did he?
Yeah, behind Tyrod Taylor, I believe.
Yeah, yes, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
I don't remember. Didn't he start his rookie year though?
Maybe towards the end, but I'm sure that Tyrod Taylor was brought in as the veteran.
Yes. He learned
Didn't Rex Ryan draft Josh Allen?
I
think there was so much chatter for Josh Allen to get in the game.
Yeah, it probably was. They probably clamoring to get him in the game, but he sat. Yeah, he definitely sat early on. He didn't start for game one when he got drafted. Because they were talking about his accuracy and all that good jazz his first year. He cleaned it up his second year when he actually started. I think he started his full second year, but I'm pretty sure he sat most of his first.
Yeah, so he did sit a little bit in his first year, but he did eventually play in his first season, but he did sit for a little bit. You're right.
He had to learn not to throw off that because he used to throw off his back foot a lot. So he was like doing this, you can't see, but I'm like I only have my one foot down, and they taught him to like step in and use both feet, and he had to learn that because he had to have the proper coaching as well.
That's not saying much. That's not saying much. No, man. Right? It's precious. Not a good
example. Magic, man. Put some respect on his name.
That's not a good example. I'm sorry. I hate to
play for 13 teams, so that's what you call a seasoned vet right there.
That's a journeyman for sure.
Yeah, that's a journeyman right there.
Sure. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Always has a suitcase ready to go.
Ready to go. Never buy any real estate. Never buy any real estate, no matter where he is. So yeah.
I'll say this. Real quick. I'll say this very quickly. Organizations are also very much responsible for ruining a lot of these players as well.
You said what I was just going to say.
Oh, all right. Yep. Okay. So, yeah.
Mark Shanahan, RG3, can I get a witness? Yes, Thank you.
Amen. Amen, brother. Amen, brother. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll let you finish it off, Coach. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think the consensus around the room is that it really just depends on where you land and how well your organization is ran determines the success of most quarterbacks. Because again, having generational talents don't grow on trees. The term is apropos for a reason. Like you see once or twice, maybe in a whole entire class or generation of football. We're talking 10, 15 years. That you may get one generational quarterback. So it's still 32 or 31 other teams out there looking for a quarterback. So you have to, keep your organization tidied up, around the quarterback in order for them to be successful. And then to your point, I think they're doing a disservice to a lot of these athletic quarterbacks because they have a lot of fervor and a lot of potential coming out of college, but they go into these piss poor ran organizations and they're running them into the ground. There's no reason why a lot of these quarterbacks that were air quote drafted high should be this bad at this particular point in time. It shouldn't be a case. Anthony Richardson can't get right. I understand they want to say that he didn't have a lot of starts in college, but that's one thing. Justin Fields had a lot of fervor coming out of college. He should be playing better. The list goes on and on. Bryce Young. C.J. Stroud, they're saying he's now having an issue with this in his third year when they normally was when you figure it out. Yeah, he's going backwards. They say you figured out the best in year 3 and he's regressing. So again, it just really depends on where you land, what you got going on around you, how your organization is ran, how they support you once you get there. If they're trying to put the whole team on your back the moment you walk in the door at 20 years old, that's a disservice from my perspective. So
I guess what they did to Richardson.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they did.
And it's not his fault they took him at 4.
Right. Again, he wasn't ready. He's a classic case of you should have had a veteran in house and let him sit for 2 years and let him understand and get the nuance of the speed of the NFL game and then he could throw him out there after that. But throwing him out there right off was a complete and utter disservice. And he just saying now he can't seem to get healthy. He get hurt in practice before the game.
Right.
You know, he get hurt in warm-ups. You know, getting put on IR and all that kind of jazz. So I don't know. We'll
From
see.
a rubber band.
Okay, did we have some breaking news? Are they trolling in the chat?
No, I think it's breaking.
Oh,
Wait.
what? They said they lose to the Browns and Mike McDaniel fired.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, got it. All right.
And
Cool.
Navman is pretty up on good stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Good stuff. All right, so let's move on down the line. Let's talk about some predictions that we made. We got the segment we call Hit Squad Heat Check. There's some preseason predictions that, you know, again, so I talk about at the top of the show how we just don't know anything that's you know happening in the NFL. Nothing is the same. Nothing is predictable at this point. So is there any particular, you know, hot take or prediction that you just were pounding the table for, you're going to die on that hill that just isn't working out at this particular point in time? So we're going to go around the room and give me your, you know, quote unquote, I guess you can say hot take or prediction that you kind of want to walk back after 6 weeks. I'm going to start with RG.
Why you got to start with me, man?
I'm sorry. We were talking about this between the two of us. So I figured I'd start with you.
Oh, man. Yeah. I think the biggest one, well, I'll say this. I was very hell-bent on the Panthers being a playoff team.
Yeah.
And they have looked a little bit better, but I gotta say it, man. I was putting way too much faith in Bryce. I went against my own better judgment. The short QB is just not sustainable in this league. The defensive linemen are too damn good. They're too fast. The days of being able to just sit in that pocket, pat the ball, play with anticipation, those days are over. It made me think about, like, not necessarily in the short sense, but the non-mobile QBs. If Rivers was playing in like this era right now, he would be getting absolutely destroyed.
Oh my God! Any pocket quarterback at this point, yes.
He was a statue in the pocket. So I was really I thought, you know, hey, you know, it's a weaker division. Bryce can elevate that team somewhat and maybe get them into the playoffs, but I'm out on Bryce, man. I should have known. I shouldn't have gone against what I hold true. And it's just, I mean, Tua, Bryce, Kyler, Russ, I know he had success, but you know, it was only sustainable for so long. The short quarterbacks are just not sustainable, and I should have listened. to myself.
Okay. Violet, is there anything that you had that was you were pounding the table for that was quote unquote, you know, I guess you can say edgy, that just isn't really working out for the Raiders or anything else through 6 games?
Yeah, I got two of them. One is Malcolm Coons. I expected more of him coming back, but he's basically been a no-show so far this season. We've gotten more out of Tyree Wilson than Malcolm Coons, which is like, go figure that. Also, I figured we would be at least 4-2 at this juncture, but we've done just the opposite, 2-4. So now we're looking up the rest of the season, and you know that almost puts you in a gotta get right quick mindset. Even though you take one game at a time, there's still pressure to balance in our division alone. It's going to be pressure to just stay in contention with the other 3 teams.
Okay. All right. That's good stuff. Coach Mike Dubb, what you got over there that you need to walk back?
I mean, I mentioned before, you know, my Steelers take. I didn't think that they were going to reach, 500. They're at 4 wins already. So yeah, not looking good for that prediction. I will say that I was kind of. I kind of did like Atlanta, and I liked, what Atlanta was going to do. So I think I was a little early on that. They look like they turned it around now. So that's one thing that looks like I was solid in. But other than that, I think the other one was the Jets. I really did not expect them to be as bad as they are, to be 0-6, and I think the only 0-6 team. is I expected a lot more from their defense. I expected a lot more from their run game. I thought that they were going to be able to get something going where they could pull out some wins, but it's just been an ugly 0-6 for them. So definitely wrong about them.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I get you there. I definitely get you there. Captain Jack, what do you got over there in your infinite wisdom? What did you have an off day on in your predictions for the preseason?
Well, first of all, I'd like to make sure that the Bishop does read the comments about your team, and that is just for you, Shipmate. Okay, there you go. I don't actually remember what I said in the preseason, other than that we thought. I think we all thought that the Lions were going to take a step back because they lost both of their coordinators. That's the only one I remember. And if for the first game, it looked like there it is. The Packers won. But I think the Lions are showing that they are a class NFC team. So, for all those that were going in and checking the pulse and having the paddles ready, clear on the Lions, they're okay. They're okay. I honestly don't remember anything else because
call an ambulance. But not for me.
That was so long ago. Hey, by the way, Bishop, I will remove you, and don't think I won't.
That's hilarious. I love your Bishop relationship, by the way. I just want to say that on the side note. Between your show and this show, it's hilarious how y'all go back and forth. But yeah, I have one, and it's a shameful one, and we talked about it earlier. But I don't know if y'all remember me saying this, but I said that it was a bit of a hot take, but I said that I thought that it was a chance that the Titans could be good this year. I said that. I said it. I own it. I live it. I own it. I take accountability. I said that based upon how their roster was constructed, their defense wasn't that bad. I think that if they went out and got themselves an edge rusher, if Cam Ward could play well with the offensive coordinator, offensive play caller. In Callahan, he was an offensive-minded head coach. I was saying that, if that worked out and their defense played well, they could sneak up on some teams and maybe play spoiler in certain aspects of it. But boy, was I wrong in that. I don't know if I was drinking that day. Somebody spiked my, Gatorade. I don't know. But I was definitely drinking too much Kool-Aid that day. And
you were roofied. No, just blame it. You were roofied. You were roofied before that show.
I might have been. I might need to go. I might need to report somebody. You might have took advantage of me.
It wasn't me, but you were roofied. I swear.
It was bad. It was bad. I feel like I was in a hangover. And I just don't. I don't remember what happened the next day. All I can say. All I can say.
As long as you didn't wind up in Thailand with some he/she, you're okay.
Yeah, or a tattoo on my face. Yeah, exactly. Okay. But yes, I was drinking the Titans Kool-Aid in the preseason today. I thought they had a chance to be good, and people were kind of writing them off and not talking about them. But boy, was I wrong. That was definitely a bad take. Definitely a bad take. Not many I had, but that was bad. That was a bad one. But playing into the show of the hot take segment that we did, so it is what it is.
I will say though, because it does say right or wrong, I was right on the Saints, man. They look better than I thought they did, but they are not doing anything this year. And for all the hate I got on that Saints video I put out.
Boy, Saints fans were on your case.
They did not like what I had to say about their team this year. And sure enough, it has proven. I just want to say as well, the one win they had, I predicted. I called you getting that one win against the Giants because I said it would make perfect sense. Giants beat us. They will turn right around and lose to that winless team. So shocker, Saints fans. Tried to tell you. Sorry.
There is a Saints fan outside of the Cajun area that watches. Wow. I'll have to check it out.
Listen, Saints fans came out the woodwork. I mean, we're talking about coming out of the backstage area, the stands, the concession stand, the
underneath the stage,
everywhere. They were coming out the woodwork. It was bad. The comments were booming that week when it came down to his critique of the Saints. Okay. They did not like it, and they thought that they were going to be much better than they are, and boy, were they wrong.
Hey, anybody that spells go Geaux, that's all I'm going to say.
Well, no. Then there's that. Then there's that. Okay, fair enough. But yes, any more right or wrong before we move on? No,
I forgot. Like I said, I forgot. That was so long ago.
Gotcha. I got you. Okay.
Seems forever right now.
Yeah, indeed. I know we only 6 weeks in, right? It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. Indeed. All right, so let's move on to our cover forecast. Let's talk about games of the week. All right, so we got some good games on the docket this week. They all spread around. We got Thursday games, we got international games. 2 Monday night games again this week, which is anybody else think that odd? I don't
hate that.
I don't like.
I hate that.
I hate
it.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'm very conflicted. I have YouTube TV and I'm trying to watch multi-view and it's a mess. I don't like it. I don't like it. But that's just my personal.
Just 2 games that I don't watch on my flight back.
What are you? Then there's that. Then there's that. But yeah,
I don't. What's the logic? Like, what's the upside of it?
You know what it is? I think it's the league trying to capitalize on the Nielsen ratings. It's just having eyeballs on 2 different networks, watching 2 different. It's almost like trying to. They already monopolize Monday night, but they want to add an extra layer of icing, and switching back and forth trying to follow 2 games is. I did
too much.
It's a mess.
I did this past Monday, and it's like you kind of lose something switching back and forth, and it's
I don't like it.
It's all about this for them. They don't.
And then they stagger it to the point where the one game is getting good, and then the other game kicks off. Yeah. You're like, I got to switch over, and I'm like, I don't want to. This game is getting good. Yeah. Especially when Atlanta beating up on Buffalo last night. I'm like, I want to watch this. I don't want to switch to the Commanders game, but I got to. That kind of thing. So yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. I hope they stop it after this one. I'm done.
please get rid of it.
Please stop it after this. But yes, but talk about the games of the week in its entirety. Let's see who we think is going to win this week. So we had a good game to open up the week, I believe. We got Rams. I think this is the international game, if I'm not mistaken. This is the international game. Rams at Jaguars. This is in I think it's in England.
Yes, the Jags play in England every year because of Shad Khan.
Right.
They're home away from home.
Yeah, pretty much. I might as well just move the franchise there if I had my,
Well, that's what they're trying to do.
Really?
Yeah, because Shad Khan owns the Jaguars. He also owns not Man U because Glazer owns that. He owns the other Manchester team. So he's trying to just build that base over there in the NFL. That's why they were expanding the NFL over there, because when you go to England to go to the game, it's not just the 2 teams that are playing. You get all the Euros that were coming to England to see the games. And then they expanded. There's the Dublin game, and then there's the Tottenham game, and then there's the Germany game. They're trying to get it established so that either a team moves over there or that every team plays a Euro game, or in the case of what you guys had this year, the Brazil game. And by the way, folks, in case you haven't been up on, in case you missed current events, as Bill Pullman said in what the friggin' the space aliens 2, or aliens I should said, getting their asses kicked. The point is they're going to go to Australia, and the Raiders have actually been announced as the official Australian team.
Oh wow.
So we're gonna get that bullet when it comes up.
Yikes! Yeah. Well. Peace be with you. That's all I can say. There you go. All right. So let's go around the room. Let's talk about the Rams versus the Jaguars. The Jaguars and coming off a ugly loss after beating the Chiefs the week before that. I had a feeling they wanted. I picked them to lose. I did. I knew they were going to lose after coming off that high of beating the Chiefs. So they lost, and they're cutting their teeth at the Rams, and the Rams are coming in to England to play the Jags. It's technically a Jags home game, so the Rams are actually favored as the road team by 2.5. So, starting with our degenerate gambler himself, RG, what do you think this game is going to turn? What direction is going to turn, and why?
Everything is telling me to go with the Rams on this one, but for whatever reason, the Jags just have that devil magic over there in London.
Yep.
So I'm going to completely go against all logic here, and I'm just going to take the Jags straight up. You can take the points, I guess, since they aren't a favorite, but I think Jags win this game straight up.
Okay. All right, Violator, what you got in this game, Rams or Jaguars?
I'm going to give the edge to the Rams, like you say, even though they're favored, but I'm going to say coaching is going to be the difference in this game. I'm taking the Rams.
I like it. I'm with you on the coaching aspect of it. Coach Mike Dub, who you got, Rams or Jags?
Well, quick question. What's the status on Puka?
Day-to-day.
He's out.
He's out this week already?
They're saying that he's pretty much going to be out. They have a bye week next week. That's when they're going to reevaluate him to come back.
Okay. We got a bye week next week. He's not playing.
Wow. Okay.
He's not playing.
All right. In that case, Jags.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right, Captain Jack. Who you got? Rams or Jags?
As somebody that actually pays attention to the Jags when they go to like I said, that's their extra home field.
Right.
Okay. So for the majority of that team that knows what's going on, it's just another home game outside or their second site. Kind of like when the Packers used to play in Milwaukee and Green Bay, that they know the confines, right? So I'll take the Jags. They're definitely going to get if they're getting points, take the Jags, and I think they win outright. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, that no Puka thing bothers me. I guess it might be a bit of my hot take because I had the Rams making the Super Bowl. Another one of my hot takes that could or could not work out, but I get that better than that Titans take. But I'm with Violet. I'm taking the Rams. I think the coaching is going to matter in this. Again, I don't like the international games, the earliness of it. I just think it throws teams off. It seems to be a less of a I guess you can say a spectacle in a sense when it comes down to NFL play. I just think low scoring games. We saw what the Broncos and the Jets look like last week. It was just ugly. So if I had to pick an ugly game to win, I'm going to go with a better coach team in the Rams, in my opinion. So I'm going to go Rams for my money and see how that flows. And get into the Eagles. We talked about them earlier, about them being, quote unquote, are they in danger of falling, flat? And the Vikings are coming off a bye. So who do we feel like is going to win this game at Minnesota? The Eagles are 1.5 favorites over the Vikings at home. We got RG.
Man, this is a tough one. I don't think JJ's back this week, right?
He's questionable right now. He's tagged as questionable. What I read today.
Okay, if I'm the Vikings, I wouldn't start him in this game. I probably would be extra cautious and give him one more week, especially if we're looking at the Eagles as a team that is quote unquote kind of struggling right now. Uh-huh. Maybe this is a game where I feel like if McCarthy was healthy coming out of this bye, it works out great for you because you have the bye to get healthy, kind of practice up a bit, then you go right into the game. But if he's still questionable, that's telling me that they're still not 100% ready for him to go out on the field, which means it's probably going to be another Wentz game, which is a little bit tricky because it's going to be a little bit of a revenge game. Yeah. So that's a little bit, I maybe not quite didn't really realize that when I was initially looking at this game. But I'm going to go with my gut here. I'm going to take the Eagles. I think the Eagles do bounce back here against the Vikings. I get it's I know the Vikings are at home, but I just think Carson Wentz I think he's I don't even want to say he's a good quarterback. I think he's a good backup. I think he's a good backup quarterback. I just think the Eagles are very hungry after back-to-back losses, especially that embarrassment on Thursday Night Football against a division rival. Vikings are coming off a bye, Eagles are coming off a bit of a mini bye, and they're coming off of a mini bye, thirsty for blood. So I think the Eagles are going to make a bit of a statement game, kind of temper the waters a bit, kind of look at the rest of the league after this game. Like, yeah, we're still one of those teams. So I'll take the Eagles in this one. Okay.
All right, who you got, Eagles or Vikings?
Got the Eagles in a ground and pound game, man.
Okay. Against that defense, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Okay.
This game would be won probably by a field goal.
I like it. Okay. Close. All right, Mike. Who you got, Eagles or Vikings?
I got Eagles. I think this is going to be one of those shut you up games. I don't know if you remember last year when Hurts had the sound bite. Is this what y'all been looking for? Yep. I feel like it's coming. One of these weeks is coming. It might be this week, so I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. What you got, Captain Jack?
Just like I predicted, the Chiefs were pissed off and they were going to come back and make up for it.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do some switches though. I think that, and I don't know if you can see what I just did.
Safety.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Thank you. Somebody's attuned. I got your safety right here, Robert. That is for Skull.
Okay.
And
the ref was here. You would say something different, but okay.
Yeah, right.
The reason why I said that is because, again, Wentz is actually from up in that area. the Vikings will be able to throw on the Eagles. The Eagles might be able to run, but the Eagles have crappy defensive backs overall. And I think that they will actually – it's going to come down to a field goal, but I think that the Vikings – I don't even know who the kickers are. I don't care. I just think it'll be a home game, and then you're going to have Sirianni talking to the press and talking worse than I do on a normal day, okay?
Okay. Cussing and fussing. I got it. Okay.
Cussing is there.
The Vikings home crowd is one of those, I guess you can say age old. I won't say it's dying, but it's one of those arenas where you go in there and you feel the energy at home. They're in that dome, the noise, the skull chants before the kickoff. I think that plays into it. Them coming off a bye and Carson Wentz extra motivation going against his old team. I like the Vikings. I ain't gonna lie. I think the O-line is good. I think they're getting healthy. I think Derek Shaw's coming back off the bye. He didn't play before the bye was out, so they're gonna have that left tackle ready to go. Jordan Mason running the ball. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison healthy. TJ Hawkins is healthy. The defense is always ready to roll with my guy Brian Flores. So I think that again, me talking about how I'm worried about the Eagles, I think the Vikings get them. I'm gonna go Vikings as well. I mean, it's only 1.5 lines, so clearly Vegas wasn't sure either. So I'm gonna go with the Vikings in the upset for sure.
I think it's also a little bit of they're the home team, so they're getting a little bit of points for that too. So I think the fact that they're still giving the Eagles, still making the Eagles the favorites.
Even home. Yeah, you're right. That's good point. The fact it's only 1.5 again, it's a kind of a pushing game. So I'm going with the Vikings. Okay. All right, Commanders and Cowboys, the age-old rivalry, one of the oldest rivalries in the NFL at this point. Always seem to live up to the hype. Commanders actually favored on the road by 2.5. So who you got, RG, Commanders or Cowboys?
Man, this is a tough one because Dak has been playing kind of under the radar a bit. Dak has been playing some very good ball. And if not for that atrocious defense, say it once, I'll say it again. Man, they could really use a guy like Micah Parsons on that defense. It's gonna be real tough for the Cowboys to get any wins done. That Commanders rush game, as Coach Mike Dub will tell you, is vicious. Had some stumbles this past or yesterday, but I fully expect them to bounce back against a division rival on the road. They are favored. I'll take the points as well because I think they will win by a field goal. So yeah, give me the Commanders in this one.
Okay, all right. Violator, who you got? Commanders or Cowboys?
Commanders, easy.
Okay. Mike Dub, I don't have to ask you, but if you want to add any credence as to why y'all gonna win, and shameless plug, check out Mike Dub's Dub report on Thursday at 3:00, where he breaks down his entirety of this game and give you the key to victory or why the Commanders are going to get a victory on Sunday. But please, sir, give us your take on why you're going to win.
I think it'll be a shootout, but one thing I will say, a spotlight on the matchup, I will say will be Lattimore and Pickens, two hotheads. Let's see who throws the first punch.
Oh, good point. Good point. I like that.
Prop bet. I'm going to say Pickens.
Yeah, I was going to say that's definitely a prop bet. Yeah.
But in all seriousness, though, with both of them being hotheads, hey, listen, if we can get him out of there, I feel more confident about getting Pickens ejected. Then I will. I'll say this: if Lattimore gets ejected, I feel better.
There it is.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying. You know what I mean? So,
1 for 1.
Yeah, 1 for 1. I feel like we got the upper hand on that. So
you did. I think you did. Yeah. I think you did. Yes.
So yeah. But that's a good matchup. I'm going to be looking out for.
Okay, Cam Jack, who you got? Commanders or Cowboys?
I got the football red Commanders.
Okay.
See, I put them kind of all together.
I see that. Yeah. Okay, good stuff. Yeah, I'm a roll with the Commanders too. I'm with RG. That defense is pissing me off. Dak is playing really well, way under the radar, highly unexpected. Again, if they had a good edge rusher, they can command some attention. They could probably play better defense. But you also talking about Matt Eberflus and him calling defense, and I got pause with that in my own space. But yeah, you get what you get in regards to that. You trade away Micah, you got Eberflus as your coordinator. Recipe with disaster. I'm taking the Commanders.
And Williams is gonna. Is it Williams, the old defensive coordinator, or am I just thinking Saints?
Greg Williams back in the day. That was years ago.
Yeah, no, but who the old Cowboys defensive coordinator that is the new Commanders head coach?
Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
Okay. I had the coordinator position right, name wrong. Quinn's gonna go in there and give Jerry this.
Oh yeah,
That's
for sure.
game.
For sure. Might give him two. I like it. All right. So the final game.
Side note, but by the way, I think this is like I don't know. I feel like every week we're playing a game of the week now. Like this is the first time in probably since
Yeah.
like the Commanders just back to back games of the week.
Jaden Daniels effect. Jaden Daniels effect.
Yep.
Easily. Yeah.
Indeed. I like
think
it.
the only two we haven't were when he was injured.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yes, indeed.
So.
Yes, indeed. Okay. All right. So we got last game. We got Texans at Seahawks. The Texans coming off a bye, going up to the 12s in Seattle, and the Seahawks are favored by 3.5. We got RG.
Oh, this is gonna be Seattle by a landslide, dude.
Okay.
This game is gonna be such a massacre for the Texans, and I'm shocked it's only at 3.5. I think Seattle can win this by a touchdown easy, and I know that's not like, a touchdown is still one score, but in betting terms, getting 7 points, that's a whole lot, especially in the NFL. But yeah, I just think that offense is going to be way too much for the Texans to handle. And I know they had a kind of a reprieve going up against the Ravens, not this past week, but the week prior. But yeah, I just don't like anything going on there in Houston. So give me Seattle.
Okay. We got Violator, Texans or Seahawks?
I got the 12s plus the weather. We don't know what it is, but Texans
It gets to that point where that weather's going to play a lot in Seattle. You're right. Yeah, a lot.
Wet balls, and we saw what can happen with some wet balls. No pun intended, but
hey, watch that, Violator. I'm the guy that says things like that. Not you.
Hey, it's rubbing off, Cap. It's rubbing off. All I gotta say is the Texans are a dome team outside in that northwest weather.
Yeah.
I've been up there. They're gonna be chilled to the bone. Trust me.
Yeah.
But the 12s are gonna rock, and Seattle's it's gonna be a runaway. I think.
See, Vince Bertha's going to come after me saying I'm rubbing off on you too much. I know.
All good, baby. It's all good.
Indeed. Coach Mike Dell, who you got in this matchup?
Yeah, I hate to, not have a contrarian view on this, but yeah, Seahawks all the way. I think the Seahawks are definitely one of the more underrated teams in the league right now. They're playing good ball.
And Sam Darnold, man. I mean, him, Baker, and for losing to the people you're not supposed to lose to, I would say Dak in the conversation of MVP right now. So yeah, I definitely agree with them playing good ball for sure. Captain Jack, what you got up in Seattle this week? The Texans or the Seahawks?
This is easy. The Texans get mesmerized watching the flying fish going to the original Starbucks, and then they're going to stick their tongues on that bubblegum wall, which is have you seen it? It's
gross.
Nasty. The wall of but yeah, the Hawks with the home field bubblegum flying fish original Starbucks advantage. Get rid of the Texans.
Yeah. I was torn in this game when I was doing the sheets for this. I was like, man, I feel bad for my Texans because I love D'Amico Ryan, I love CJ Stroud, I love both their edge rushers. It's one of those things where you have sympathy for the Texans, but the Seahawks, man, again, another defensive team that just will dominate you if you're not careful. And they're playing at home, weather, 12, and noise, looming field. It's gonna be too much. It's gonna be too much for the Texans, man. I had hope for them, but the matchups don't bode well for them this week, so I'm going Seahawks too. I can't be that contrarian to say I'm going to take the Texans in a sympathy vote. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks. Go with the Seahawks for sure. All right, so that's your games of the week. All right, so let's get inside our new hot segment of the podcast called "Do You Believe?" I got 4 questions. Allison, I got 4 questions for the panel. They're not aware of these particular questions before we start the show. So it's completely, first reaction type of vibes that you're going to get in these answers, right? So I'm going to give you these guys these questions. They're going to give me their first, right off the cuff reaction to what they believe is going to happen with these particular questions. So I'm going to start with Coach Mike Dub. So let me get my questions here. Pull it up right. All right, what we got here? All right, Dub. Do you believe? Let's see here. What I got here. Do you believe that the Ravens can bounce back after the bye week?
Tough one. Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. It's a tough one though. I think they got one more. If they lose one more, I'm gonna say no. But as of right now, today, where it stands, I still think, like I said, anything before week 8 is an overreaction. They're getting there. They're getting to that point. But I think that they can bounce back after all is said and done. Listen, they got the one who should be 3-time MVP. Anytime you got that guy, you got a chance. So, once he comes back, I think things will shape up a little bit for him. That defense is still a little questionable, but yeah, I'm going to say yeah.
Okay, so he does believe that the Ravens can bounce back. Do they make the playoffs?
Possibly as a wild card. I think it's possible. Until, like I said, if they lose one more, it's out. Like when I say one more, I mean one more before, on this streak right now, on this losing streak right now. But yeah, I think it's possible they could get in as a wild card. They get a streak going, get some, some things happening. Listen, I haven't been wowed by anybody yet. I don't think anybody is a team.
Especially in AFC. Yeah, AFC is rarely up for grabs. So I can get you there.
Yeah,
I can get you there.
I'll give you a little stat for that one because I didn't know that question was coming. Only 3 teams in the last 45 years to start 1-5 made the playoffs.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Who are they?
I don't know who they are. I couldn't tell you who they are. I just give you the seeds and you they sprout in your head.
You're a tease. You're a tease, man.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, I got a good one for Violator. All right, so we've seen, the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows of the Broncos up to this point. They are 4-2. Now this could go, positive or negative in your mind, but tell me from your perspective, do you believe that the Broncos are really a 4-2 team?
Their record is 4-2, but this is a team that's running on a good momentum. They got a defense that kind of can keep them in the game. And Bo Nix, like I said, he's one of those guys thrown into the fire, but I see improvement from this kid week to week. And like I say, come mid-season, I think he's going to be in rare form. So, yes, they are a legit 4-2 team. But looking at their schedule going forward, we may have to revert back to that same question in about 8 to 10 weeks.
Okay, so he believes that he's they're earned their 4-2 stripe. They are definitely a true 4-2 team. Okay, yeah. I like it. All right, young RG.
What do you got for me, Coach?
I got a good one for you. So, and I know you love this guy, so I'm going to let you have this question.
Oh man,
are we sleeping on the Steelers as being a playoff team and making a deep playoff run in 2025?
Ooh. Are we sleeping on them? I don't,
because we all wrote them off at the beginning of the preseason. We just thought that Aaron Rodgers and that dynamic is just going to be a disaster. Maybe they make the playoffs, maybe they don't. We all kind of gave them the 8-9, 9-8 vibe, and now they're walking away with a division at this point in time through 6 weeks. So, are we sleeping on them and have the ability to make a deep playoff run?
I'm gonna say I don't believe in it at all. I mean, yeah, they're winning this division right now, but it's not through any, like, I'm not impressed by them. I think they're, like I mentioned when the injuries kind of happened, I think they're gonna walk backwards through the back door into this division.
Okay.
And Burrow being out for essentially the whole year,
right?
Lamar being out for these past 2 weeks, and the Ravens off to that horrific start.
Right.
The Browns, we already knew the Browns weren't going to do anything. So I think they'll win the division probably, barring a just ridiculous collapse, and that would be just so Steelers to go 8-2 or something like that, right, and then just lose 7 straight and finish your season 8. Yeah, that would be so on brand for the Steelers. But I mean, yeah, I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll win the division. They're probably going to be a 1-and-out. I don't, Rodgers, whatever you think about him is whatever you think about him. Nobody can agree. Nobody can disagree. So yeah, they're just kind of there.
Okay. All right. So we'll see what happens with the Steelers. But at this point in time, and through 6 weeks, RG does not believe that they're a deep playoff team. Okay.
No.
All right. DZ agrees with you on that. So I like it. All All right, Captain Jack, you're going to love this one.
Wait. When you say this, you got to give your best Southern, pastor. Do you believe? Again, I want to hear it like that there, Coach. I want to hear it. I want to believe that's in your voice. Amen.
I don't know if it has the TD Jakes vibe in my repertoire, but I'll work on it.
I'm gonna pass the plate. When he does that, I'm gonna pass the plate around. Let's go.
There you go. Yes, indeed.
Keep it coming.
So for you, and I know you love this team. You love to talk about them weekly.
Oh my God! I know what the team is. Fake Pirates. I know you talk about those fake Pirates.
You know it. Do you believe that the Buccaneers are the favorites in the NFC right now?
I can think of no other team in the NFC that's playing better. And I can think of no other person that deserves the MVP more than the old guy who isn't doing those commercials anymore. And I actually think that he's actually gotten better once he got rid of all of the commercial crap that he had to do when he was in Cleveland. He was actually playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Of all the NFC teams, I think that they are, and I agree with what Zed says. No, Zed's dead, baby. Anyway, come on, there's another commercial. There's another movie reference. I think that they are definitely top 3, if not top 2 in the NFC.
Okay. All right. So Cap's on the fake pirate train.
No, I'm not. I just answered the damn question. Stop it. Stop it.
NFC.
You're gonna get me a bad name around here, Coach. Come on now.
I'm sorry, my bad. That's my apologies. I'm just speaking from an analyst perspective, not your Raiders.
As an analytical, yes, sir, you are correct.
We're analysts on this show. We're not just fans. We're analysts on this show. So your analyst perspective says that the Bucs are a top team in the NFC.
God, I hate saying it, man, because I gotta live here, man. In my ear.
Coach, I got a question for you if you think you're ready for it.
Sure. Let's go.
Patriots coming off of the probably biggest win since Brady left. Do you think they are in prime position to win this division for the first time since Brady was there?
Yes, I do believe that. With Drake May ascending, because I think we talked about Drake May last week and how we think. I think actually you think he was going to be the best quarterback
of that draft class.
Yeah, I think I asked that last week. So yes, I think Drake May is ascending. I think the culture stabilized. I think he spent a lot of money on that defense with Christian Gonzalez coming back as well, kind of stabilized their secondary to marry up with their pass rush. I think that Vrabel has this team prime. And fun fact, I do believe that they go back to Tennessee this week to play the Titans.
They do.
And in a revenge game for Vrabel. So, yes, I think they're going to steamroll the Titans and go and take this road right on down to the AFC divisional title. And it's going to probably come down to when they play the Bills again to determine who wins the division if nobody gets hurt. Gets hurt. So, yeah, I'm with you on there. I think that we're primed to see a changing of the guard if the Bills can't fix their defense, which is amazing to me with Sean McDermott being a defensive guy, how bad their defense is. That makes no sense at all. It makes no sense at all. Indeed. All right, before we close out, we had a couple of questions in the chat. I think Narman asked you about Jaden Daniels earlier. I want to get back to that real quick, Mike Dub. He asked you about why he hadn't gone over 250 yards passing this year. Is it injury scheme? What do you think about Jaden Daniels' passing yards being lowered this year? Why do you think that is?
I think it's a mixture of a few different things. These past few games, I think there's been a concerted effort to feed Bill a little bit more and to get that run game going a little bit. So I think they've probably switched up the game plan going into things. I think another aspect of it is Jaden has been very conservative this year with his reads. He's been doing a lot more checkdowns. He's been, kind of tucking it a little bit more, not really trying to go for the big shots and turnovers. And the biggest thing I think is definitely wide receiver, chemistry. Terry was the deep ball threat. And obviously he just that chemistry hasn't been there. He's been out for a little while. And when they both were on the field at the same time, it just wasn't there. So obviously, Debo is the intermediate guy. The other deep threats that we've had really haven't come on like that, aside from, McCaffrey having one long catch a game. Other than that, there hasn't really been, yeah, sorry, RG. I know you're thinking about that. Yeah, but it's a collective, a whole bunch of different things. But the biggest thing I think is, we don't really have a receiver that can take the top off right now without Terry. So it's kind of making us go with a little bit more of a check down type of offense, lean on the run game a little bit more. But I'm not worried. We do need to get some depth at receiver and some more playmakers at receiver going. So hopefully Terry comes back healthy. If not, that's a change we're going to have to make in the offseason.
Can I offer you a Quentin Johnston, perhaps?
Oh, wait.
Listen, depending on what the cost is.
Now after 5 weeks, that trade looks a little bit better.
Yeah, it looks a little bit better. It looks a little bit better right now.
You're kind of giving us the Heisman when we brought it to you to start the season. Now it's
absolutely. Now not looking bad at all.
Okay.
Oh,
All right, we have a quick question for RG. He Eamon had a question about Justin Herbert.
Do I think Justin is better now than he was as a rookie? Careful on that answer. So I think he has certainly matured since his rookie year. I think that is undeniable. You've seen the maturity from his rookie year to currently. I think also the fact of the matter is he's gone through, I think he's now on his 4th offensive coordinator. Might be his 5th. I could totally be wrong about that.
I think we're at 4. I
think we're at 4. Yeah. 3rd head coach. Even though technically for that first year, Lynn was only for like 13 or 14 games, whatever it was. Right. But I think that he has matured into a leader. I think when he first arrived here, he was not a leader. He was not outspoken. He was not, that galvanizing force that the team needed, but he was a damn great quarterback. The talent spoke for itself, and he kind of just rallied the troops through his own play versus, rah in the locker room. So I think now he has matured in that area of his game, in the intangible area. I think he's always had the tangibles and the the athletic traits, the physical traits. And I think just mentally he's grown and matured, and he is now a better QB than he was as a rookie. Maybe the numbers don't show it, but I think he is 100% a better QB than he was in his rookie year.
Yeah, and speaking of that, he's way more efficient. He literally has, if you could count the interceptions he's had, it's all been, some circumstances that caused the interception. Tip pass, at the line, or the receiver tipped it in the air and they landed in the receiver's hands, things of that nature. But yeah, he's definitely has. I think he only threw 3 picks all of last year in the regular season. So yeah, I think in the last 2 years on the Harbaugh, he's been really efficient. As well as delivering the ball. And I listened to Lad McConkey video today, and he said that Justin has kind of helped him be a better receiver over the middle. He was talking to Steve Smith. He said that Justin tells him that if I throw it over your left shoulder, turn left. If I throw you over your right shoulder, turn right, because I'm leading you into areas where you can run and not get hit.
Open space, yeah.
So I'm trying to protect you and not get you killed over the middle, kind of thing. So that is a very mature and nuanced thing that a quarterback does that a lot of people don't appreciate.
I think also to that point too, you mentioned that he doesn't, throw many turnovers. He also doesn't put the ball in harm's way. Obviously turnovers can be a little bit fluky, like you mentioned, tip picks, things like that. But he does a great job of, when he does take chances, more often than not, those balls get batted to the ground. It's the age-old case, either my receiver's got a chance at it or nobody's got a chance at it. And I think he's got the second lowest turnover-worthy percentage in his career so far. I think only Aaron Rodgers is above him so far. Obviously, a certain amount of games played.
Right.
But yeah, I think he is certainly grown, and I think to answer it all, big long question, yes, he is a much better quarterback than he was. Agreed.
Okay. All right, so let's get into this last segment here before we get up out of here, called Fourth and Final, our hot takes of the week. So, based upon this week 7 matchup that we have coming up on the docket here, and or what you've seen through 6 weeks, are there any hot takes out there that anybody wants to throw out there for the ether to let it rest in the podcast world that we can come back to later and either clown you for or we can praise you for it based upon how right or wrong you were from that perspective. So, RG, you got anything hot over there buzzing in your psyche? You got anything
Maybe it's a little hot. Maybe it's a little me being, division hater, but I got the Giants upsetting the Broncos this week in Denver.
Oh.
I think Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo roll hot after that big win on Thursday night. They're coming off a bit of a mini bye. I think that Denver defense is not going to know what hit it.
Oh.
I laugh as I say that.
Yeah, right. Okay, so for him, the Broncos get upset in Mile High, that higher elevation and everything. They still get upset. Okay. All right. Okay. Violet, you got anything hot buzzing over there in your psyche that you want to let the fans know that you think is going to happen this week or going forward?
Not so hot and buzzy, but I see the Steelers going into Cincy. That's that AFC North divisional rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
I see Pittsburgh going in there and lighting them up, minus Joe Burrow. And that's when we can see Aaron Rodgers at his best, so to speak.
Okay.
That's going to be one of the hot take games right there, I think.
I like it. All right. Okay. Coach Mike Dub, what you got over there that's a hot day brewing on your stove?
Nothing too crazy. I think this week is one of those weeks where, we got a lot of lopsided matchups, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm looking across the docket. I don't think I see too many crazy upsets. I don't think I have anything special this week. Everything looks like it should go according to plan. We'll see. Yeah, but we'll see. Something's gonna go wrong with my pick'em, I'm sure.
Yeah, we've had a rough go.
I feel you on that one.
Yeah, we've had a rough go to pick'em league for sure. All right, Cap Jack, what you got over there buzzing over there?
Okay, I'm going to preface this by saying it does not have to do with any of the games this week.
Okay.
There's been a personal. I made a statement that was construed as a personal attack, which actually was, without naming names, on my show on Sunday. And a very narcissistic, egotistical, this type of person that says, "You're so vain, you think this song is about you," type of mofo. And I did clean it up for the kids, folks. I swear. Okay. What is your opinion, folks? I'll even lay it out for the crowd here. When you are an adult that uses kids to shill to get you equipment from the team when they leave the field, and it is a production line, and it is weekly at the very corner of the end zone where the Raiders come out into the black hole, there is a kid, grubbing for stuff. You'll get a glove, he'll get a hat, a hat or a head wrap, towel, or wristbands, or a towel. The kid immediately, and I'm going to at least get the person's that's the sex out, so it's a dastardly prick. And yes, I said that the kid gets the stuff, gives it to this egotistical mofo prick who puts it in the bag, and the kid immediately goes and shills for the next item. And this person, because I didn't name him in the video on Sunday, came out with a video today basically saying, am I jealous? Am I jealous of this? No. What I am saying is that you are and I will not put all of the words that I will probably say at another time when it's on my show, but you are denying the fact of other kids the opportunity to get stuff, and you take all this stuff and you sell it.
I was going to ask you that. What are you selling this stuff?
You sell it. You don't keep it. The kid has no emotional attachment to it. You sell it, and you are a foxtrot tango. You know what my word is? And I'll just say it, foxtrot tango. You guys can probably figure it out if you listen to me enough, okay? This person comes in and says, like, I'm jealous of that? No. I had a jock strap given to me last week at Locker Room Humor. It was autographed to me, and they say, like, you like that? I said, well, it's locker room humor, but it's something that was presented to me. It's mine. I basically earned that doing rapport with Stuart Schweigert myself. Okay, this egotistical, narcissistic sociopath, and I will get to that another time, takes his kids every freaking week and gets stuff, and the kids stick it. They go. It's a production line. Adam, okay, here it is, Dad, and he sells it.
Wow.
That you are at the top of the Foxtrot. I almost said it, of the Foxtrot Tango pyramid, and that's my hot take. Okay, and I'm sure somebody's going to probably take this view and they're going to send it to him and saying that I'm jealous of it. No, I'm not jealous of it. You are such a Foxtrot Tango, which I can't say. And then he says, yeah, wouldn't you like to be one of my kids? No, because you are let's
move on before you say it, because I think it's coming.
That's my hot take, Coach. And I'm sorry I've spent a little bit of time on that, because that's how much I despise and loathe this mofo.
Okay, fair enough. All right, for me, I think that I'm looking at the Monday night game again. We're getting into this whole 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock business with the Monday night games. It's interesting. But I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, kind of rain on the Detroit Lions parade and upset them in Detroit. Yeah, 5.5 favorites too. Detroit is favored by 5.5. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with potentially no Mike Evans, no Emeka, they go in with Rashad White and Sean Tucker and just run over the Detroit Lions and get another victory and further themselves into the conversation of being the top NFC team in the conference. That's my hot take. So
and Ibuka's going to be out for a little bit too.
I know I don't know if they're doing IR him, but he probably looking at 2 or 3 weeks for sure with a hammy. So what sucks for my fantasy team, but that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah.
God, it always comes down to the fantasy.
Of course.
But for your best fantasy football takes, be sure to join Coach Defense. And do you have a sub for Alex this week, Coach?
I don't. It's just going to be me this week.
Coach Defense giving you all the best fantasy takes in his lightning fast fantasy football, whatever, and he will talk about it when we do the outtake.
There you go. Okay. It's at 7 o'clock, ironically, DZ. The game's at 7 o'clock. Might turn into a pumpkin. The lights come on. That's funny. That is funny. Okay. All right, gentlemen, we did it. We wrapped it up. That's a good show for this week. We get into our outtakes here. If you're looking for the Hit Squad, Commanders Insider Mike Dubb, Alex Givens, the Chiefs Insider, or Robert Garcia, the Chargers Insider, hit them up on social media. There's their links in their at their tags for you. And if you want to hit them up with any questions regarding their teams, please do so. DM them, tweet them at them, do whatever you got to do. Reach out to them. If you're looking for the NFL Nation Live crew, Ref Guru, if you have any referee questions, hit him up on Twitter. Violator is also on Twitter as well. Hit him up if you got any Raiders questions. And hit up Captain Jack for any Raiders questions as well on Twitter, IG, or YouTube. Check us out on the YouTube channel, Captain Jack Rackham, on YouTube. Get him a drop him a sub if you can. And if you need any Raiders questions asked from that respective, please hit them up on that space. And if you're looking for the Lockdown Defense Podcast Network in any space, we're on pretty much every platform. Twitter, formerly known, X is formerly known as Twitter, whatever that is. I always call it Twitter. They name it Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter. I don't care about it. Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, of course. Hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Please do that, and so we can get our YouTube numbers up. We know that we greatly appreciate that. So if you're looking for us in any space, you want to get any questions answered for the network, please hit us up there. For our subsidiary channels, if you're looking for the Electric Shock Podcast for all Chargers news, you can find us there. Electric Shock Pod, myself and Young RG drop content on there regularly for Chargers news. We do all Chargers content all day long in that particular space. If you're looking for fantasy football, like Captain Jack alluded to earlier, you're looking for fantasy football advice, we have a Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast social network channel on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Hit us up on that space, Lightning Fast FF. If you have any social media questions or any fantasy football questions you need answered, we go live each and every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, right there on our YouTube channel to give you our takes and our results for the week and give you advice for upcoming weeks to get you ready for your fantasy football matchup. So hit us up on that space and we'll be right there for you to answer those questions and yeah, so that's pretty much it. So that's all our shameless plugs for the week. But that's a great show, gentlemen. I appreciate everybody that came through and held us down this week in the absence of guys that are missing and on travel. And again, congratulations once again to Alex for having this kid, the healthy baby. Him and his wife and the baby are doing well, so we give him a shout out to
Muzzle.
Indeed, but hopefully we'll see the guys back next week. But any final thoughts? Any final outgoing messages before we get out of here?
Bolt up, baby. Go Chargers.
Indeed, as always, man. As always. Okay.
No all more. Right. I was long-winded already.
Indeed. Okay. All right, so that's what we'll do it for us this week. We'll be here each and every week on Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Lockdown Divas Sports Network. Like I said, hit that subscribe button if you haven't not done so to get our YouTube algorithms up so we can take this channel to higher heights and deeper depths. Until next week, we'll be back with another week 7 recap and get into week 8 matchups and things of that nature. So we'll give you all the NFL news that you need right here on this channel. So for Young RG, Robert Garcia, Coach Mike Dub, Commander's Insider, Cap Jack Rackham, and our guy, our special guest, Violator, Raiders super fan. We appreciate everybody coming through, and we'll be back next week with another video. But until then, you got to do one thing and one thing well. You got to step up to lock it down.